welcome back once more, ladies and gentlemen. We've got our fourth game of 5 for Starladder Season 10 America Day 5. We've got CNB versus Union Gaming. Union took a little breather there after their loss against EG, and we were a little delayed coming into this game, but alas, we've got two South American teams ready to square off. Peru versus Brazil. I'm Zayori, joined once again by Blaze. What's the good word, buddy?
Looking forward to this match, man. Obviously, CNB, they really pulled out a surprising series of events with their last game that we got to cast. And Union Gaming just came off of a really good game themselves. The late game obviously didn't work out for them because EG took away their win condition. But all the same, they put up a really good fight. They had some really great skirmishes, and they brought the fight to their opponent for sure. Now they have a lineup that maybe they can capitalize more thoroughly on turning those kills into real major objectives with the Nature Prophet Lycan opener, but obviously CNB knew what they were going into. They banned out the Razor, they banned out the Void. They knew the Lycan would be picked up, and this is their answer.
Yeah, exactly right. And just a little side note here, Union were actually supposed to be docked all of their reserve time, but there was a little issue in the lobby there, so they did just get a pass this time, a little stroke of luck, but yeah, just a little follow-up there. Usually Starladder is pretty on point with punishing those that show up late past the scheduled start time, but Union, they just you know, sometimes you get tossed a freebie. Better lucky than good on some fronts, but they will be looking to push once more this game, and well, we saw it in the last match with just the Nature's Prophet, but here it looks like they'll be going a little more hefty on the push with that Lycan, his Wolves, and of course the Global Howl.
Yeah, so, I mean, I'm not even sure if they really have to contemplate this draft too much. A lot of it seems like obligatory pickups. Getting Angels, Nature's Prophet once again, play pretty well on that, and the Lycanthrope is just a guaranteed go-to. Sometimes we see Citadel running it in the mid, and sometimes Benhaz will take it to the safe lane, but no matter the case, it's definitely something they wanted. But now they're going up against the Centaur. It's a hero that can allow them, enemy team, to keep pace with the Lycan, so CNB will try to get in range for that long duration shackle. Maybe can wait out some of the shapeshift with Tornado, but in general are just going to make sure that Lycan can't stay on his objectives, which is going to be the towers. Drunken Haze is pretty good in that as well, but it really comes down to the mid matchup, and that's one that we're still not sure about. Brew is definitely going to be there, at least I would say it's a 80% chance of that, but the Lycan, maybe not. We'll see what Union Gaming have up their sleeve.
Yeah, well, they'll take their time to think about it, and they settle on the Rubik. Not a bad pickup here. Plenty of big abilities to steal. Every single one of these heroes has a big ultimate that Rubik would love to get his hands on, and plenty of other abilities in their arsenals. So I think just a good pickup overall here, and could be the makings of a killer tri-lane. I feel like I go back to that in almost every draft, but just a good, well-rounded hero as well.
So the draft is a little bit slow here, both kind of taking their time, trying to figure out what they want to do with it. Right now, with the current bans, it's difficult to find an easy hero to pair with the Shadow Shaman that can also turtle and clear effectively. Sometimes you see heroes run Sand King, but with already having the two kind of frontline initiating melee strength heroes, it might just be kind of overkill in that regard. So they want something with mobility instead, something that's can be quick on its feet even without the Centaur Warrunner to help out. So Mirana was banned out by them a little bit earlier in the draft. And they also have to make sure that's not an easy steal target for Rubik. Doom is still in the pool, but it's not the best hero against Lycan. If he gets the shapeshift off, then he's just going to be able to run away with that. And then, of course, the Rubik loves to steal that for himself. So it's a lot of difficult choices here. I mean, whether or not they want to focus on killing off the Furion, if they want to stop the Death Ball, if they just want to take towers for themselves. I mean, there's a lot of ways they can go with this.
Blaze, what happened to Shadow Demon, man? I feel like that hero is still so good, and we just don't see anybody picking him up.
Yeah, I saw him a little bit in China this morning, and it really comes down to the players. If your player knows how to play Shadow Demon extremely well, if he has an affinity to that hero, then it's actually probably one of your best picks, in my opinion, because there's just many ways you can deal with major threats. Defensive Disruption, for example, against Centaur or Shadow Shaman would be incredible. But the end result is if you don't use him extremely efficiently, he doesn't fit perfectly into this metagame. He has more counter push than he has push, and in this case, they're just not considering him as popular of a pickup, even though I think he still remains quite prevalent.
Instead, they'll go for the Lich, and that is an interesting one. We recently almost exclusively seen Lich when paired with the Faceless Void or a Trian or some sort of a huge big ulti sort of wombo here. And I guess pretty well suited to try and slow down the momentum of Lycan in lane, but still a little curious exactly how this Lich is going to fit into this draft for CNB.
Enchantress.
Enchantress is an interesting pickup here, along with the Rubik. Obviously, it works well in the early push, but they also have some decent gank potential. If they want to try to kill off the Brewmaster in mid, there is some potential with early Smoke of Deceit. Or if they just want to focus on the jungle and farming up a little bit more, then they're still going to have a lot going for them as far as just general movement. The alternative was the Enigma, but up against the Shadow Shaman Hex, the Chain Frost, which actually mini stuns through BKB, it might have not been as great of a pickup. They'll still be wanting a mech carrier, perhaps, but for now at least they get some great neutrals that they can possess and can even take advantage of the Howl to really just batter down those towers.
Yeah. I think the Invoker is a smart final ban from CNB. Could have actually really been good for Union here. Nice bit of pushing synergy and then a huge amount of magic damage, which they're sort of lacking right now. And just general control if they wanted to build him Exort or go for the Boss Wex build. But we'll see what Union want to ban out here. They will dip into that reserve time, and we'll need to ban out some sort of a carry here. I don't know. There's a lot of carries to choose from. Something like a Slark could be a good ban. Luna, I don't know. A lot of heroes that CNB could be angling for at this point.
Yeah, there's a full list of them. The whole regiment of carry heroes is really in the pool still. I mean, obviously we've seen a lot of heroes transition into a safe lane farming role where they didn't usually kind of play in the carry mindset, but I don't know. I think that the CNB is looking to get something that's a little better in the late game because right now, the Lycanthrope, obviously he's going to have a handle in the early game, but he isn't the biggest threat when it comes to actual fights. He's great at pushing, he's great at staying active and mobile, but unless they already have a numbers advantage of 5v4 movement, he's really not going to be that threatening because they have the Stampede to disengage. So we'll see the finishing touch here on CNB's lineup. It's not going to be the Weaver. That would have been a great pickup. Very similar in the vein of thought as that Slark, but in the end, it leaves it up to 30 seconds of reserve time to figure it out.
All right, well, they ban out Weaver. I guess that's as good a ban as any. I don't really see any huge synergy that the Weaver brings to the table, but it's just an irritating one to deal with, and they don't have a huge amount of lockdown. So that is generally a scenario where the Weaver shines.
10 seconds remaining.
Well, smart ban on that front. We'll see. CNB have about 5 seconds left, and I guess we'll better be patient than keep taking stabs in the dark here. All right, the Ember Spirit. There you go.
Radiant team.
Yeah, the Weaver would have been really frustrating because Rubik and Enchantress do like to progress towards items rather than just buying all the sentries in the world. As well, like they don't really have hard disables beyond the Telekinesis and the Dark Troll Summoner net, so the Shikuchi would have been a real problem for them if he just was able to tango through Sprouts and that kind of thing. So the Ember Spirit's a little bit more manageable. Nature's Prophet can go for an Orchid relatively early, and that'll be great against both the Brew and the Ember. But still, it's going to be a great hero when it comes down to the mid to late game, where he's just able to kind of hold the high ground, use the fact that there are so many creeps between Enchantress, Furion, and Lycan, and just try to cleave away.
All right, and they pick up the Fairy Dragon with their final choice here. So a little bit of flexibility, but probably their mid hero, and it appears they will just throw Lycan in the safe lane as he gets picked up by Benjaz.
So we got this kind of fully revealed from both sides. I kind of favor Union Gaming's lineup here. I mean, the amount of fights that they can just choose to take at any point in time if Angel's teleports are used effectively or if Jericho micros his creeps properly, there's just so much more potential for them to get a couple of easy kills and turn that into a lot of towers. I actually expect them to probably have like a 3-tower advantage by the 20-minute mark. So we'll see how that pans out, but for right now, it really comes down to if the Enchantress gets her jungle open and if they're able to make use of those creeps in an offensive fashion.
Yes, absolutely. That is usually the make it or break it with an Enchantress pick. She needs to be active early on, and she needs to find something, whether that is either a fast Midas and just farming up and getting out of control, or finding some ganks. You need that Enchantress to be active during the early game, and it looks like we'll see some DC issues here from CNB. But yeah, I look at both these lineups as pretty snowbally, and I feel like whoever starts gaining momentum will really just continue to gain that momentum. When you have both teams that have some flash pushing capabilities, especially heroes like Ember Spirit and stuff, it looks like we will have a remake though here, as there's some sort of well, whatever. I
There's
don't know what
there's
the
a lot
issue
of
is, but
routing issues from Brazil, so I can understand if the server is not right for them, that they're going to try to get the best way to play their game. But yeah, it doesn't mean we have to go for a quick remake.
Yep.
SA
And
Dota.
yeah, there we go. Yeah, it is rough with the South American teams. A similar issue that some of the SEA teams have with the routing, where you can have a server in that region, but not all servers are created the same. So there's a degree of RNG there. I believe CNB is Brazilian and UG is Peruvian, if I'm not mistaken, at least primarily. So it's always an interesting matchup how it ends up being kind of a clash of the countries.
Yeah, a little bit of a nation showdown there, but South American showdown, I guess I could say. But
The South American showdown.
yeah, I mean, they obviously have some history scrimming against one another a little bit. They are definitely better off in with having the same kind of ping disadvantage to go up against one another rather than a lot of the North American teams. But even still, US East is always going to be their best option given how things route through, and they just have to make sure that the server is not going to be punishing them too much. There's 2 US East servers, and you get the bad one, and you're probably not going to.
Kind of strange how US East is the best server for South America, even though there are South American servers. But I guess some of it is an infrastructure issue with the servers and connectivity up here. It's just better. So even though it's further away and it's longer routing, it still yields a lower ping and overall better experience. So kind of weird. You see that kind of stuff a lot when people are like, why are people that don't speak English queuing on this server? It's like, because the servers are better, dude. If the servers were better in South America, I'm sure they would prefer those. It's just about lag. It has nothing to do with griefing you or playing with people that they don't understand. It's simple matter. It's simple rationality, man. Everybody wants to play on the lowest ping possible. Welcome to Dota.
Sure enough.
Welcome to Dota, where ping matters.
Yeah. Still, I mean, these guys are experienced at playing at some high degree of ping, and a lot of these heroes aren't too ping dependent. Like Puck is definitely up in like the top 5 as far as ping dependent heroes, but if you look at like a Lycan and Nature's Prophet, they can manage one way or another. So yeah.
It is kind of interesting how you can sort of get used to ping as well. I remember back in the Han days, the big Australian team, Frenetic Array, and they were TT Esports, where every time they would play on LAN, it would take them the first day of the tournament to get used to playing on 0 delay, and they would always like look terrible at the beginning. They'd play a few games, be like, okay, I think we're used to this, and then by the end of the tournament, they're like on point again. And the same thing, they have to go back to Australia and get used to playing on delay. If you do it long enough, you eventually kind of get used to it, but it's sort of strange how it's sort of a different lens to look at the game when you're used to having like 300 ms.
Oh, definitely. Because I always play in the early afternoon, for me, I have to end up queuing on Europe West more often than US East, just because of the amount of people that are actually populating the servers and trying to get a balanced matchup there. So definitely know the disparity between like an 80 ping game and a nearly 200 one. So you definitely have to get used to it. And in this case, obviously, it's looking a little bit, well, not as good as they'd like it to be, but they'll have to manage.
Yeah, it looks like we won't have another remake here, and we'll be able to get on into this game. CNB going to be on the Dire side, and they will have, is this a stand-in here? Who is Pada? Is this a stand-in or somebody with a silly name? He was not on CNB last time.
30 seconds.
You know, he was not. I have seen him play with them before, but I don't think that's anybody with a different alias there. Just standing in, helping out. I can't remember who he's actually standing in for, though.
Yeah, I don't know either. I can't remember. Anyway, stand-in here, Lich will be headed to the off lane. He will be joining King RD on that Ember Spirit. In the middle will be 4DR on the Brewmaster, which leaves us with Baga on the Shadow Shaman once again. And that will be old Netty here up on the safe lane Centaur. He'll be able to find a fair bit of farm with his boots first. Union Gaming, oh yeah, Benjaz will be here in the safe lane. It will be Citterall in the mid on the puck, and they'll actually be going for aggro try here, at least for now. Where would Jericho end up? He will smoke with Xander, and it looks like he wants to jungle a bit aggressively here, maybe thinking his jungle is warded, though it is actually not.
Yeah, even if it's not, though, the aggro try from Enchantress is extremely powerful, and it's something that the Shadow Shaman will have a hard time dealing with. Fortunately, he did go Boots, which will help nullify a lot of the kill potential, but even still, with this Dark Troll Summoner, you're going to be finding some opportunities to at least put a lot of pressure out. Hal will come out early just for some last hitting on the bottom lane, but it's going to be actually pretty difficult for Benhaz to deal with what the Ember Spirit's bringing, as well as Pata for that matter. Like, the immolation effect from Flame Guard will stay active 100% of the time, and actually it is going to be the net into the telekinesis onto Baga, though with those boots, he should just barely be okay, but they might teleport the Fury and change that.
Yeah, there we go. Angel joins the party. One more auto attack will bring him down, and it is Rubik that secures the first blood. 400 pennies going his way, and he'll be off to one hell of a start. And Ned just running around with his axe, saying, "I'd love to help you, buddy, but there's just not much I can do." Still hasn't skilled anything up, and I don't think even a hoof stomp would have been enough. Wouldn't quite have been enough there. So, good stuff for Union Gaming out of the gate.
Yeah, that's what you are kind of trying to get accomplished with the Enchantress aggro try. Just get a lot of early pressure here. They've got another net available. They're going to look to dive the tower, and Ned looking to juke in the tree line. But Skeletons can tank up a couple tower shots here. They've got a lot of people already ready to deliver some auto attacks, but Ned just barely slips through, and it looks like Union Gaming will have to tone it down a notch.
Yep, clip clop, says the Centaur as he walks through the trees and makes it back to the tower. At least they're being aggressive here, and already these rotations from Angel proving semi-successful here. Let's take a look at the other lanes. Whoa, mid 40R in some trouble. Enchantress with a Harpy Stormcrafter. That'll secure a kill. And very nicely done. This creep is ridiculous. So much damage from the Chain Lightning on only a 4-second cooldown. 550 mana pool, 50 mana a pop, and seems like the Brewmaster just wasn't quite ready for it. And that'll be another kill up on the board for Union Gaming.
You can spam out that really extensively, has a very large mana pool for it, so it's causing him some real grief. I mean, Citadel generally won't have kill potential until level 6 on his own, but just a little bit of extra nudge in the right direction from the Harpy, and we obviously see a very different story. So as far as experience per minute, Puck is topping out by far. He's actually got 150 lead on the Brewmaster now, changing quite rapidly those numbers this early on in the game. But even still, we're going to see some aggression, looking for the teleport onto Baga, but it's going to be Centaur who they turn their attention to, unfortunately, with no disables.
Yeah, he picks up a Satyr Tormentor here, but not really your ideal creep. Shockwave does a fair bit of damage, and if they can continue to find vision, another Shockwave might be enough to bring him down after a few more auto attacks. Baga trying to path block here with his body, and now the Satyr will dive the tower, doing some decent damage to Baga as well. Gets finished off by the tower, and the heroes do not get that extra bout of bonus gold. They do find a little extra experience there. Regardless, both completely zoned out, and no regeneration except a single tango left on Ned. So Angel will now be able to pressure this tower pretty hard, finding some decent last hits of his own, and more importantly, this Centaur just finding nothing. 2 last hits on Ned right now.
No. Pata's not really using his sacrifice on the bottom lane. Like, he could actually be even zoning back Benhaz further with getting the experience for his side. We actually see a disconnect as well on Baga here, having some really tough time with the connectivity to the server. But hopefully it hasn't really been affecting his play too much. So far, his movements have just been rather controlled by Union Gaming, and I don't think that even on a low ping, much of his decisions could have been changed.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I'm more curious about this Lich, and I'm trying to think of any possible advantage to not using Sacrifice at every single cooldown. I mean, that's the big power of the Lich now, is not only denying experience, but of course you steal it for yourself. Any thoughts here, Blaze? Is it just laziness? Is there something I'm not thinking of?
Well, he is obviously like body zoning Benhaz. He's getting some Frost Blast out there, and he actually wants to use his mana so that he can gain it back with the sacrifice. So maybe he considers it a free Frost Blast. He wants to make use of it. But the only other thing that you can think of is he doesn't want to pull the creep wave all the way under tower. It's already pretty far back for CNB. So if he does sacrifice a little bit too much, it'll hit the tier 1 tower and it'll push right back the other way. So kind of trying to keep control of that. But even still, there were multiple times this past minute that he probably could have and should have used it.
Yeah, from what the little I've talked to pro players about Lich, it's sort of yeah, you can try to maximize mana efficiency by spamming your Frost Blast and the Sacrifice, but it seems, at least in the little bit of anecdotes I've heard, the real money is just getting that Sacrifice out at every opportunity, leveling that up primarily, lowering down the cooldown, and even if you're at full mana, you're just getting experience for your team. That's where the real efficiency is at, even though it feels like the mana is what's important. It's really more about experience stealing. But you are definitely right about lane control, and that seems to be the bigger problem right now. And I think King RD is pretty happy with the creeps where they are. And Old Lycan, how many last hits does he have? 11 and 1. Not too bad, but of course also not too great either. I guess considering how much work they're doing in the top lane, it is a worthy sacrifice. And Lycan is a hero that can recover pretty easily as long as he doesn't get completely zoned out of the lane.
Yeah, a few of those creeps though are an easy camp that he farmed up, so less gold value in that in general. He is going to be slow going from here. Boots of Speed will come out for him, but his Vlads will be significantly delayed, and with that, their kind of group up and push strat with the Fury and with the Enchantress is going to be a little bit limited. Still, Jericho, Zender getting a good start where they can force back their opponents on the top lane, and Angel taking that time to actually batter down the tier 1 up on top,
and
down
if
to
they
half
can get
HP.
if they get this tower down quickly, then that's enough to make up for the lost farm from Lycan, and then they can just rotate down bottom and then kind of help him out and get some momentum back in this bottom lane. So as long as they're successful up top and do knock down this tower quickly, I think it's worth it. I think they're doing all right. And of course, Puck is winning mid pretty handily right now, so that's further good news for Union Gaming. He is 21-2 versus the 15-2 Brewmaster. But the real disparity is that experience, as you talked about. Puck almost about to hit level 6, and Brewmaster only halfway through level 4.
Yeah. So, I mean, this is a lineup that kind of requires communication of when to engage and when to use different abilities and stuff like that. I'm curious how Pada kind of rejoining his former teammates will kind of blend into that. I don't think he's like in a unofficial roster member. I think he is just standing in for Klotz, but even still, he has a pretty long history with a few of these members. He played with King RD with the old CNB lineup, and he did play for Pain Gaming for a number of years, even in Warcraft 3. So a lot of history there, but not sure how it affects the psyche of the kind of interactions between the players here.
Yeah. My man Klotz. I always think of Roger Klotz from Doug. That weird green hair. All right,
Nice.
Here we go. Resumed back in plays. Did you have a follow-up to my Doug anecdote?
I don't know where to go from there with that. Like, I feel you on it, but I can't jump into any real
All right.
side
You know,
references
Macklemore looks a lot like Roger Klotz if you see him put next to each other.
Really?
He's like the Roger Klotz reincarnated in human form. If they ever do a live-action Doug movie, I'm pretty sure they'll have to cast him.
Excellent.
Oh, boy. All right, so we're back in this game, though, and CNB, they will take the high ground near Jericho, and this Enchantress could be in some trouble. She has no points in Untouchable, 1 point in the Nature's Attendant. Will get off the Ensnare onto Ned, and Xander is right there with the Telekinesis. Even 4DR moves out of lane for this, but it'll get turned around the other way. Baga caught inside of the Sprout as Angel rotates over, and they were hoping to find a kill on the Enchantress, but this old Dark Troll Summoner here proving to be very effective, and even more time where the Brewmaster is not in lane and letting Puck even further the last hit lead.
Yeah, so the first stun attempt from the center was actually interrupted by the Dark Troll Summoner. Interrupting the cast animation is something that it can, in fact, do. And then the second one was from Telekinesis. So Ned ended up casting no spells there, goes back to base, and just feels bad because they're just dying left and right up on the top lane, and they're about to lose the top tower as well. Fortification will only delay the inevitable here. No way to deny it. And the last hit is going to end up going to, I believe, Angel. No, the Radiant in general.
All right, Angel is fake pumping it like he wanted it, but we'll give it over to the creeps. Either way, it will be 3-0 here at the 5-minute mark, and that first tower down will give UG an even larger lead here, about 3,000 gold, 2,000 or 1,500 experience. As Puck gets a little aggressive under that tier 1 tower mid, will take some damage, but does jaunt back to the orb just fine. Baga again playing around with these Radiant supports, and will be forced back. Enchantress picking up phase boots here.
Yeah.
That is interesting.
Very interesting indeed. I guess wants to go for maybe an enchant build, go 2 or 3 points in enchant instead of leaving it at level 1. Would allow you to kind of just stay on target, get a lot of right clicks in, and that would be very interesting to see. But I guess it's just this raw gold gain that they've got out of the first blood that's really allowing them to kind of go for this aggression. Tier 2 boots on Rubik as well. He's got the arcanes, and yeah, they can go for extra right clicks on the tower. They can pursue their targets and get the slows and chain stuns. It's different, but I can see it working.
Up top, Angel sticks around a little too long. Ned does connect to the hoof stomp this time, and it will be a dead Nature's Prophet as he is just in way too deep with no supports. That will be an easy kill for CNB, but it looks like he did pick up his Hand of Midas before he went down, so he will have at least mitigated some of his losses there and does have that big farming tool at a very, very good timing. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, the rest of UG grouped up, and, well, not the rest of them, but 3 of them are pressuring this mid tower pretty hard. Double damage rune on Puck, making this a pretty easy push as the Wild Wing Ripper is here with that nice armor aura, making these creeps that much more tanky. And these will be back-to-back tower kills. It's Jericho that gets the last hit with that Enchantress, and Angel will head right back into the jungle to use that Midas and get back to farming. So Union Gaming off to one hell of a start here. They do concede that unnecessary death on the Nature's Prophet, but they find plenty of other positives around the map, and Citadel's already halfway to his Blink Dagger with about 1,000 in the bank.
Yeah, great start for them, but I'm not sure if they can keep up this amount of pressure. With the nice Observer Wards coming out from CNB, it's going to be very hard to find a bunch of... Oh, we got the Tranquil Boots!
Oh,
my god, that's insane!
God.
That is absolutely game-breaking, and it's like the most frustrating thing in Dota 2. I don't want to overhype this, but holy shit, the Centaur just died.
Oh,
something inside him just
that was
died.
a Flanders play to the max. Oh, poor Ned. Oh,
He's gotta
God.
curl up in a corner and go just cry. That's all his gold, every ounce of it going away. Poor booties.
Everything. Oh, God. So now he is going to have a very delayed Blink Dagger. He'll at the very least have to pick up Brown Boots, and I reckon he'll just want to go for Tranquils again. But that is a huge net worth loss right there. And now you see Centaur, 700 net worth. He's down with the supports. That is... I can't find the words to articulate how frustrating and potentially game-breaking that is. Well, hold that thought, those down bottom. Benjaz, he will get initiated upon, and he will fall. That is the Ember Spirit to finish him off, but Puck comes in, Dream Coil out, will finish off the Lich. 40R will just try to TP home. They'll let him go, and instead they'll go for King RD. And Puck will rotate around the side, does have an orb up in about 2 seconds. Flame Guard is on, but he will be able to jaunt to it, and one more auto attack should bring him down. That's the kill. And they make it a 1 for 2. They may lose their position 1 Lycan, but it's not in vain. Meanwhile, in the top lane, Jericho in some trouble as Ned does pop the Stampede there, but the Nature's Attendant's enough to keep him alive. Baga trying to move around the trees, but it's not enough. Xander's there, and he will finish him off with a Fade Bolt. Jericho back up at full health, and Pada does TP in. Will hit him with a Frost Nova, but now the Enchantress is on the run. Rubik rejoining the party, but he's out of mana, and they will do a nice split. Only one of them will fall, and it will not be the Enchantress. Rubik without a TP scroll, 1,500 gold on him, nowhere to go. He's trying to kite around, but King RD TP's in, connects with some chains, and he will fall. But all that space created for the rest of Yuchi's pushers here to take out this tier 1 tower. And yeah, they get the Rubik, but not really a great trade.
No, not at all. Just losing out so much. The Centaur, he is going to be going back to those Tranquil Boots. Just absolutely set back from that early game. He's not going to have Blink Dagger for what feels like forever. And the towers are just falling by the wayside. 3 tier 1s gone. Now, we do see Jericho is a little bit far forward. Only has a Magic 1 TP to try to get himself out. So might just go down to King RD here. Gonna try to go for the Ace Attendants, but without any raw HP items. No Urn of Shadows, for example. He just doesn't live long enough for the spirits to kick in. It worked okay when they were kind of diving the tier 2 up top, but with this exchange, it's obviously showing its weaknesses.
Yeah, so just a kill on the support Enchantress, end of the day, not the end of the world. As Benjaz now has his Vlad's Offering, he'll move into the Ancients to really accelerate his farm. And of course, once the Medallion comes out, Roshan will be a possibility for him. There's that urn you were talking about on Jericho, so he will tank up a little bit more here. And yeah, just go right back to farming. CNB, they are in some trouble though. Already a 7,500 gold deficit and 2,000 experience. Not insurmountable, but will be difficult for them to say the least. Xander now level 6, and he will pick up Double Edge with his first spell steal.
This is actually pretty absurd. If you look at the net worth, everybody's above the Brewmaster. Panda's now down to, I guess, what, 7th place on the charts? Like,
yeah,
6th place at least? Yeah, that's...
7th, yeah.
I don't know. This is a really bad position for him to be in. As far, I mean, obviously he wants the Blink Dagger, but by the time he gets that, the Rubik's gonna have a Force Staff. Like, I don't know.
Yep, Ned forced to burn a defensive Stampede here as Pada comes forward. He does have a Chain Frost, will throw it out. Ned is gonna die off to the side. Chain Frost will bounce around into the creeps, but not doing much damage to heroes. Pada does take the orb, but Citadel does not jaunt to it. Instead, just uses the Blink Dagger and will phase shift here as King RD comes in. He charges straight forward without a Remnant down, puts one into the mid lane, and he'll be okay for now with the Flame Guard online. He will be able to hop to it. And now the Panda has gone into split. Will connect with the Boulder Toss onto Benjaz and might be able to find a kill here. Or maybe not, just not enough damage coming out as the Lycan is on the run. They did lose their Enchantress, but now the Rubik coming forward. 40R will go back into Brew form, and he will get telekinesed. Oh, and Rubik steals it. That's a boulder out. Now Rubik will try to turn it around. 40R getting a taste of his own medicine and a spoonful of sugar, as they say, but the Wolves will be here to track him down, and I think the Pandas will be forced back. Yep, the Earth Panda will head back, and Rubik will survive just fine.
So probably won't get the window of opportunity to actually use that spell for a second time, but even still, it's a nice little steal there. It forces him back. and just showing what he can do really with his spell skills already. It's very difficult for the Brewmaster to cover his spell animations just with his hero in general. But once he gets the Blink Dagger, maybe he can just focus on killing the Rubik in the duration of the split so that he doesn't have to worry about it after the fact. In either case, we're just seeing a lot of ramp up on the side of Union Gaming, CNB needing a quick pause, probably some more lag and connectivity. But I don't know, when Benhaz gets the Necronomicon, really, what can CNB do to hold it other than like dropping their ultimates underneath their own towers?
I don't really have a great answer for you there. This is, yeah, they need a lot. Baga is not level 6 yet, so they don't have Rost awards. They have Chain Frost, but at level 1, it's just not really that scary. It has a very long cooldown and still a pretty easy ability just to deal with in general, especially given that they have Treants and Wolves. There's just a lot of units to kind of absorb the potential potent damage of that ulti. Brewmaster is decently close to a Blink Dagger at 1,600 gold, and Ol Centaur here. Well, he picked up his new set of Tranquils, second time's a charm, but yeah, really far off that Blink Dagger. Basically no gold in savings. 12 minutes in, we're looking at maybe a 16-minute Blink Dagger if things start turning around for CNB, maybe even longer if he continues to get picked off.
Yeah, the Orchid coming out of Nature's Prophet soon will be very difficult for CMB to deal with. Like, you can pick off the Brewmaster, the Ember Spirit, where before it was essentially impossible, because the puck silences. I don't know. It's in general, if you're playing in a defensive position, you're going to see the puck right before he gets the blink waning rift. So that's enough time for you to get out as a Brewmaster or as an Ember, but using your ultimate, of course. But now they've got not only the waning rift to worry about, but this Orchid, which is just that much more impactful when you shift queue it out of a TP. So it's going to be difficult to get away. As far as tree cutters, they do not have any tangos or any quelling blades. So an Orchid plus Sprout equals a dead hero automatically.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we're only 12 minutes in, and I hate to say the fat lady is sung, but this is rough, and it seems like CMB are really having some connectivity issues. You see Union Gaming getting a little salty here, and to be, maybe
I don't think that's a good road to...
Well, leave it at that. They're getting a little salty here.
So we see Enchantress has obviously made the most of her early game aggression. The aggro tri-aggress Enchantress really paid off, not only getting that top tier 1 very early and obviously netting the first blood, but also helping out in the mid lane, getting really good control for the puck. So he's got this early Blink Dagger. The Brewmaster is far from it and still can't help but go back to those Tranquil Boots. It's if the Centaur could come out with a Blink Dagger like within the next 4 or 5 minutes, like they would be back in this game. But because he's been so delayed, because he lost those little green booties, 975 gold with 1 right click. I mean, that's the most devastating thing that can happen this entire game.
Do you think there should be like a scaling effect of like how many auto attacks it takes to kill an item? Like regular boots are 1 auto attack, tier 2 boots are 2 auto attacks, bigger items are like, I don't know. Is there a point where just being able to right click an item and easily take it down is a little too imba? I don't know.
I mean, I kind of feel like you take the risk, you get punished for it. I kind of like Tranquil Boots is the only item you would have any reason to drop on the ground, anyways. So, in this position, it's kind of, if you're gonna go for that play, you have to know what can happen as a result. And just didn't see the Out of Fog of War stun coming out. Ned, no, okay, that's I'm in panic mode for him every time he drops them now. Like I see like his allied hero show up on the map, and I'm like, maybe something will happen. If this happened twice, like I would uninstall. It's too much.
Yeah, that's just like when the rage comes up. That's when you just break your keyboard over your knee and just move on and try playing soccer or something. I mean, oh, that's yeah. No, I agree. And I don't know that making an item like 2 hits to death is a smart idea, but it's just an interesting thought of. I guess some people drop arcane boots as well to sit bottle and stuff like that, but yeah. You're right. I guess you would never really drop brown boots, so that is kind of dumb.
Oh, no, actually, no, there is a valid reason for that. Ixmike does this all the time for Sneaky Nick's Assassin. When he goes for a boots first offlaner, often Centaur, for example, he actually drops his, if you check on the bottom tier 2, I'll ping out, he drops his boots right over here. And what that means is essentially with the creep wave being extremely slow for the first 10 seconds maybe of its spawn, he's able to go for really slow movement speed body blocks with his hero, and then while he's pathing that way, pick up the boots to have the movement speed to go for the full body blocks once they speed up.
Oh,
So
that's interesting.
it's a very interesting tactic. We also saw it a little bit, and I can't remember the Clockwork player from it, but there was a boots snatch in that game too. I believe Fnatic stole their boots. They were pinging it out all game long. It was a riot of a time. But yeah, that does happen from time to time. It's just obviously less common. More Trunkables on the ground. This is giving me a heart attack right now. The fact that he keeps doing this, he's nowhere near them. Anybody, Invis, smoking, I don't know, even a random TP. I am just horrified. This would happen again.
I think Ned might be a gambler. I just have the sneaky suspicion that in his off time you may see Ned in a casino putting quarters into slot machines because he just keeps rolling the dice with these damn things. But so far so good, I guess. They were grouped up in the bottom lane, so at least had a little bit of intel as to where Union Gaming might be. There is a Blink Dagger up on the Brewmaster now, though. So 4DR does have that long-range initiation tool. And, well, good stuff. But this Tier 2 tower taking a lot of damage. Ned in the front lines, ready to press forward. Stampede at the ready. 4DR hops in. There's your Primal Split. And Cinderal will back out. Rubik did not manage to get the steal. But he will be positioning for it once he comes back in. Now Ben Jazz isolated in the trees. He will be stuck, and he will be the first to go down. But now the Panda's back. And Dream Coil out on 2. Ned will try to TP home. One impetus to the face will bring him down. Cideral almost falls, but pops the wand. Does live. Centaur's gone down. Now the Lich, and now 4DR. It's a disaster for CNB. And it will be the end of them. All 5 will die. Rasta wards come down and trap in Jericho. And that does yield a kill there. Did the Lycan buy back? Yeah, he sure did. But now this Tier 2 tower will fall. The wards will get cleaned up. And I don't think they'll really be able to break high ground, but they'll press forward and see how much damage they can do to the tower.
And no Mass Serpent wards, no Primal Splits, not even a Stampede. So as long as they break up for the Chain Frost properly, they can still just keep wailing away at this thing. They certainly have enough health bars to go with it. So Tier 3 is going to be dropping readily. And although they might not claim it in full, any damage they can do right now is going to be perfectly worth it.
Yep, and they will back out. Let's see if they can minimize their losses, though. Searing Chains on 2. Orb over to the high ground. They will lose the Rubik. Chain Frost will get dodged by the puck as he moves into a phase shift. Angel trying to TP home will get hit by Searing Chains, and they will be punished for their overcommitment as they lose 2 on the retreat. Still,
I honestly think that's okay. That's essentially the Tier 3. It's at 85 HP.
Yeah.
You don't want to give a losing team too many easy kills, but all the same, this is literally one wave of creeps, a Treants, Lycanwolves, whatever, and the tower's gone right when you want to start on the racks. It's an investment, and if they don't take the Tier 3 and racks within the next 8 or 9 minutes, maybe it's not really worth it, but I don't think they're sweating it too much right now.
Yeah, Puck hops forward, Dreamcoil right onto 4DR. He'll break the tether, and they'll just lay in the damage. Stampede is used, but it's not enough to keep him alive, and the rest of CNB will be in full retreat mode. Lycan down bottom is farming away, and yeah, the rest of UG will just hold steady in the mid lane. So not afraid to burn that Dreamcoil just for a solo kill on the Brewmaster, but his net worth is just struggling so much.
Yeah, everyone's is on the side of CNB. I mean, the Lich is just rocking the brown boots.
The Ember is doing okay. He's the only one that's kind of on par right now, but he still has a ways to go. I guess Phase Boot Drum Aquila isn't so bad. Working on a Battle Fury, but there's a lot riding on his shoulders right now.
Yeah. With this delayed item progression, 6k net worth does not a Battle Fury make. So unfortunately, they need to draw the line. They need that drastic enhancement, but all they can do is find one pickoff to try to find the opening. Now, King RD getting stunned up a little bit here, and they will steal the Sleight of Fist, but they won't be able to actually finish the job without the Waning Rift connecting. Still, Roche is their main focus. Benhaz able to solo that pretty easy with the Necronomicon, and should be a nice bit of solo experience and gold for the team.
Yeah, they will smoke up right outside the Roche pit as well, and I guess rotate up top, looking to possibly grab a gank. Lycan will be able to solo it very easily with those Necronomicon units. He picks up the Aegis of the Immortal, and now they find King RD on the high ground, goes right in with chains onto Jericho, but he'll get off the attendants. Rubik's there with a telekinesis, and King RD is kind of off by his lonesome here. In come the reinforcements, though. There's the Primal Split. They're going on to Jericho, but he gets mech'd up. Attendants will heal him up as Wolfie Lycan gets caught inside of the tornado. Boulder out onto Jericho, but this Enchantress is rather tanky at this point and pretty speedy as well. Lich gets picked off around the backside. Now 4DR gets back into brew form, and he will fall. It's a 2-for-0 exchange. Some cooldowns used, and now UG will just go straight for the high ground.
Yeah, and they've still the Primal Split at the tail end of that, so nicely done by Zender once again. This is pretty much indefensible bottom lane. They can go for the mass servant wards on it. Baga's making his way there, but it's just they have so many units.
Yeah, and the Sleight of Fist just doesn't do enough damage yet. There's the Primal Split used as they bring down Baga. Manages to get the wards down, but I think it will ultimately just feed Union Gaming more gold than anything else at this point. They clean up the wards very easily, and Jericho will say thank you, and that'll be the first lane of Rax down. They can't move into any of the other lanes as Tier 2 towers are still standing, but Rax down at 19 minutes, usually not a good sign. King RD goes in, gets silenced, caught inside of the Sprout, and already we see that Orchid really coming in handy. Easy kills for Union Gaming, and this could be a quick one here, Blaze, as I don't think CNB have too much time left on their clock.
Yeah, I suppose not. I mean, it's very difficult. They don't really have the best of turtling heroes until they get the Battle Fury, so for right now, they need to find something huge, some couple of kill swings, and find some massive farm on the Ember Spirit, but I mean, the net worth graph, I mean, the gold graph, I'm sure, looks absolutely bleak. 20,000 gold in favor of Union Gaming. I mean, we know that Lycan just destroys early game GPMs because he is able to just kill so many towers, but adding on the effectiveness of the Nature's Prophet and Enchantress Lane's top, it's just disgusting how far ahead they are at this point in the game.
Yeah, that's a level 2 Necro Book up on Lycan. And, oh, I'm making a Necro Book level 3. There you go. Finishes off a few creeps in the mid lane. And that is a full Necronomicon. And, oh, Mr. Fairy Dragon actually goes for a Necro Book as well, following his Blink Dagger. Up top, Angel will be able to finish off that Tier 2 tower. And the rest of CNB will back up for now. I'll have to make a hold at the high ground. Their Tier 2 tower in the mid, the last one standing, and it won't be for long. Ben Jazz will just finish it off. Oh, yeah, he'll get caught out by the Rubik, and maybe creeps can bring him down, actually. A few more auto attacks. But nope, he'll be alive as Rubik will be forced back. He needs to be careful here. He's playing with fires. King RD hops forward, does connect with the Searing Chain. And Xander will fall. In comes the Thunderclap from Brew to finish him off.
Angel's got the skill, though. Angel's going to... Well, he's not going to get him.
Ooh, the rest of Union coming in. Now the Orb right out onto Ned. And, well, the Orb will be off the mark, but the Impetus more than enough to bring him down. And that'll make it at least a 1-for-1, and I don't think Union are done quite yet. CNB will be forced to back out, and this whole time Lycan, he's not even fighting. He just wants the base. He'll use that level 3 Necro Book, goes straight for the Tier 3. Does get cleaned up a little bit for now, but still hanging on to the Aegis, and CNB are just running out of resources. They have nothing to deal with all of this pressure coming their way.
Can I actually kill this with Panda? No. It's got a little bit too much HP with that last second on it, but he's still taking a lot of damage here, and it looks like he's going to go down. Nice Chain Frost coming through, but doesn't bounce exactly where they want it to, and Jericho will take the last hit and still walk away. Magic One and Urn alive. He can man up hard onto the Ember Spirit, and Ember Spirit's the one to fall. Now 40R back onto Angel, trying to finish him off. Mass Servant Ward's coming out, but the GG in turn. The Lycan's able to dismantle the base as they try to get what kills they may, and it looks like it's going to be a very fast win for Union Gaming.
Yeah, Union Gaming looking strong here, no doubt about that, and also can't deny that there was perhaps a bit of a lag factor as CNB were consistently having DCs. Always hard to gauge how much of an issue that was, but Union looking damn strong. You can see old Netty there, GG, Valve, please Areno, fix Areno servers. Yeah, obviously a bit of frustration there from CNB. So unfortunate, but only so much we can do in terms of server issues. As casters, that is not our forte, Blaze.
Yeah, I can only just watch and deal with the repercussions of the technical failures. Yeah. But I don't know. We obviously have a better infrastructure than Battle.net had, so I can't complain too much in that regard. The delay on those servers and the save and disconnect aspects were pretty... It just was a whole different game, really. But yeah, here we are with a push strat with a Lycan and a Nature's Prophet. Who would have thought it would have done really well? And 2140 is going to be the end timer for this one here. CNB tried to put up a fight, but they just lost too much on the top lane in general, and Ember Spirit wasn't able to come online fast enough to actually swing back. Good game, well played, and go next.
Yep, absolutely. It will actually be a pretty short break coming up next year. This game was really delayed getting in, so even though it was a quick one, our next match is scheduled to start in 5 minutes if it gets going on time. Last match of the day will be SNA versus Not Today. So Sna versus X Revenge, Smash's team, so should be a fun one. I'm Zyori, joined remotely by Blaze once again at Zyori TV, at Blaze Casting, and at Beyond the Summit for those of y'all that are interested in Twitter. We'll be back. Stick around because there is one more game coming up for today's Starladder America coverage.